our meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we need to take attendance.
Oh, do we? It's not on my agenda.
Do we need to take attendance?
I'm sorry?
Attendance is not on the agenda. Don't we need to take attendance? No? Okay. I thought we did.
It'll just be noted in the minutes. We
Okay.
attendance.
Perfect. With that, we'll move into reports.
Look at that. Things are going really well. We've been, we're glad to have Cheryl back off of vacation. So she's going to be helping make sure that we get all the information that we need, wise, so that we put together informational flyers. So the schools have them this week for parent-teacher conferences, just information, what we can share. And then we'll have an information session the evening of March 2nd at the high school at the big tech, I don't know, what is it called, Mike?
The parent night?
Yeah, the parent night, just parent night? Okay, at the parent night. So that we'll have a booth there to give information as well. And then the Chamber Board has invited us to come in and talk to them as well about the levy and ask questions. So we'll be doing that. Special ed is going to be having an audit next week, and this will be done by the State Department of Education special ed personnel. And so we'll be looking forward to the feedback that they are providing. And we have been working really hard with a group on our emergency operations plan. And so we're getting to a point where that might be finalized here by the end of the month. So.
Do we have, I haven't seen any of the flyers or anything, but is there availability for anyone who has questions to get a hold of someone in the district office after 5 o'clock? Or is it only 8 to 5?
We could look at how we can do that. Maybe we can set up a special email or.
Just maybe even until 6, I know a lot of people work from 8 to 5. It's hard to have time to sit down and have a conversation. So maybe if we can just have a discussion about that, maybe find
In most cases, I'm here until 6.
till 6 anyway.
So if I need to be, we can even get certain days and say,
Yep, I think that's.
And maybe if we can have that worked out before parent-teacher conferences so they can tell parents as they're talking or parents have questions, so it's not limited. I know everyone's trying to pack a lot into the 8 to 5, even eating while they're still working, because we all know how lunch breaks work. So just maybe that little time after, just really encourage them to take time to call and get information directly from the source and do the research and ask their questions and get them answered.
So I also start with a sunrise
Okay.
and ask them to maybe use their meeting room there to have something
Oh, do an
maybe
information
once
right
a
there
month,
too.
once a month in the mornings or once a month in the evenings, and maybe combine with the city so we have a council person there, planning and zoning, 2 board members, just kind of open it up to start having some collaboration. We'll have maybe 2 or 3 different groups just casually in the meeting room at sunrise. So they're open to that idea. Just we could rotate board members through and council members and just try to have information in a general spot for the public instead of having to absolutely come to a meeting or just between the hours of 8 to 5. So
Yeah, that's a great idea.
they were positive. So we could include the
Okay.
levy
Yeah.
information
And
on
the
that.
flyer draft will be ready tomorrow.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great ideas.
The middle school.
Well, thank you for inviting me here tonight so that I can celebrate the middle school with you. I first just wanted to talk about the middle school by the numbers, and I also just want to point out so many people that are here tonight are part of the team at the middle school. We have Todd and Sarah and Glenn and Stephanie and Mark and Angie and Wendy just coming to support me tonight and all of it. So thank you for coming. These are our numbers at the school. And I do want to say that we have 2 secretaries right now who work the front office, and I would love if you would come and have a cup of coffee and sit in the front office any time of the day and watch the chaos in the doorbells and the phones with 4 buildings and the security and trying to maneuver and get kids where they need to be and to double check to be sure that kids that are checking out are going with a parent that is allowed to go. Something that I will be asking the superintendent for next year is another half-time person at the front desk. So I'd love for you to come and experience the fun that we have there. Right now we are at 990 as of this morning. That kind of fluctuates up and down. This is our A team. We meet weekly and we discuss students' attendance, grades, behavior issues, data trends. These are the counselors and all of our secretaries, attendance, registrar, SRO, and our nurse work as a team to find solutions to problems dealing with kids. Just a couple of challenges that we have. Our crosswalk is a challenge. We have 2 very devoted people who are out there morning and afternoon. And several times, they are close to being hit. Cars don't want to stop for them. They come into the crosswalk. Our SROs and Chief Jack are amazing. They help us out as much as we can. But it's just a challenge we have to work on. Supervision is a challenge. Those are our fancy yellow vests that we all love to wear. Thank you. And as students can see where we are, it is something that we are working on. It's working well. Again, it's just a challenge. We just have to be sure we're covered. Whenever someone's gone, we have to be sure someone's in that spot. Our security is, it's working really well. I think our team is amazing of making sure kids get where they need to be, but they're safe. It's just something that we're always working on. And substitute teachers and paras is a huge challenge to be sure that we have coverage in our classroom when our teachers are sick or when they need to be at professional development. So those are what we're constantly working on. Now these are our celebrations. This is, the reason I put this kind of boring looking slide, but the State Department defines student engagement as the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that the students show when they're being taught. And this is what our teachers do. The Middleton Middle School kids took the survey in October and we were 3rd in the state. Our kids said they are engaged in the classroom. And there's no better compliment than that. So the rest of the slides are celebrations of how our kids are engaged in the school. Mrs. Remington heads up the recycling program, all student driven. They go to the classrooms, do all of the recycling, handle the bins, clean the bins. Our ninjas, Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Oswald do handle all of our ninjas. They make sure that they're distributed in the morning. They go around and pick them up in the afternoon. They're learning how to do some repairs and teaching students how to use their laptops. It's all student run. We have 18 office aides that assist in the office. Thank goodness we have them. They run the slips from all of us when we just talk to kids. We have 74 kids in leadership. They run the community assemblies, the food drives. Anytime we have a new student, one of our leadership kids comes and gives the tour to the parent and the student and helps them through their first few days. We also have 125 mentors that work in the classrooms, chosen by teachers to assist students in the classroom. It's just amazing what they do. Right now we are having co-working with the high school. The high school students come over after school and they are teaching music lessons to our middle school students. So that's something where we're really working together with the high school. These are our ISEF scores. I know you've seen them. I just want to point out that in all areas we are above the state average except in 7th grade ELA. So that's our area of focus. 2 slides, I have 2 data slides here and then we'll get back to some pictures. I wanted to let you know we use iReady as a way to show our growth, and it's been an amazing 5 months, we have taken, like the sixth graders here, 23% were way below grade level in a critical stage where they really needed some intervention. We really need to watch these kids. And in 5 months, 13% of those kids moved into the yellow, maybe possibly into the green. You can't see green up there very well. So in every single area and every grade in math and reading, we have grown and improved and moved people out of the critical to around grade level to at grade level or above. So another fantastic feat that our teachers have done. These are arts by the numbers. I mean, you couldn't tell it was a math teacher. We have 176 kids in band, choir 146, Mr. Thompson's here, orchestra 84, art 143. And if you come to our halls, every single building has art posted up in the hallway. Drama, Mr. Thompson as well, 32. So 59% of our students enroll in the arts programs, and I think that's a really telling of the middle school. The kids on the left are an orchestra group that just shot down the hall to play music for the counselors on Council Appreciation Week last week, and those are our 5 Treasure Valley Honor Band students. Our 8th grade STEM class went to NMU and participated all day in labs. Our 6th grade STEM students are talking with the scientists on board of the Polar Stern. They're doing research in the Arctic. So our STEM classes are just out and about. Our student engagement with the Ninja course is huge. It doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing. I'm so pleased with how it's turned out. The kids just gravitate there, and then they pull everybody over to that big field. They never used to play on that big field. We have a ball barn run by leadership kids who check out frisbees and soccer balls and footballs at both lunches, so kids are engaged. We rarely see them on their phones, which we love. So you can come and play on this too anytime. We have book club at lunch. This is brand new with our new librarian, Mrs. Nichols. The kids pick out the genre. They decide the questions of the book. They decide the discussion. They decide treats to bring, create a project for it, and it's ongoing. And our robotics team took first place in the regionals. They're going to go to state next week. It was rescheduled. So that's going to be a really exciting thing to see how that works out. We still have our PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Support. So if you hear that, that is our bikes program. That is our behavior modification. We give tickets if they exhibit bikes excellence, integrity, kindness, service to the school. They can spend their tickets at a store. We're having a high school team come and dance. They can buy their way into watching the presentation. So it is our #1 driving force for behavior and teaching our middle school kids how to be adults. This is something they did over hundreds of acts of kindness spotted by the Kindness Spies. You'll see these up in all 3 buildings, and there's one of the bike stores right there. So thank you for all your support. That's our social studies class right there. Those are all of our celebrations, and thank you for having me here. Any questions?
I have just a couple.
Sure.
Can you remind me what ELA curriculum that 6 through 8 is using?
It's called Study Sync.
Study Sync. Okay, I couldn't remember the name of it. And then what's the capacity of the middle school? Rough numbers.
I have been told we are 250 from being at capacity.
Okay,
So 1,200.
just kind of forward thinking. And I just want to compliment you. I love to see the interaction with the high school. We've seen it with the elementaries and just the alignment. K-12 has been huge. Love to see all the schools working together and just really having the kids look up to those older kids. I love that they're coming down and looking forward to moving on and progressing through their grades and being part of a big system. And you have a lot of bodies to take care of, and it looks like your team is doing a good job. So thank you.
They're amazing. Thank you.
Donna, being a math person, so
Oh dear.
now I'm trying to understand, teaching to the numbers and seeing these test scores go up. Because if I read the newspapers and I listen to the outside world, I always hear that we're not doing very well, but I see the increase in those eye test scores.
Uh-huh.
And how old is that test? Is that test fairly new?
Oh, old as in, how long, is this our third year?
It's
For iReady, third year.
third year.
iReady. Mhm.
So we're starting to see, have we ever seen benefits from it all along, or are we starting to see a larger? How do we feel it's in 3 years? Are we feeling more comfortable? Do we?
In our opinion, our teachers have been very well trained on how to look at the data, how to use the data to teach, how to use the interventions that come with the program. We use those in our seminar classes. I think that it's been extremely valuable. The scores that I showed you were from beginning of September to the end of January. I mean, they're very current. That's 5 months of growth in every single category. We saw growth in student movement. And all the teachers could get that data, all of them could see it, all of them understand it, not just ELA and math. So social studies, science, music classes, we're all on board to help students
So
grow it.
we have measured improvement from the start of school till now.
Yes, in every single category. Thank you.
I have a security question. As you talked about, you feel you're at capacity with the 2 staff members that you have up front.
Mhm.
Do you think that's, and maybe Mike can chime in on this too, is it because the number of students we have, or is it, I guess my question is, are we grasping it like everyone thinks we should be grasping it since we put it there in the fall? Or is there things that we could be doing different to help facilitate that? Not necessarily, and maybe it is that half a person you're talking about, but I'm curious on, since we implemented it, is that due to the student population or is it due to the system?
I think it's both. I think that due to having 1,000 kids and 70 staff and however many parents decide they want to pick up their kids between 12 and 3 because of all the appointments, that 12 and 3 and 4 different buildings. So everybody has to be beeped in.
Yep.
With trucks pulling into the back for the kitchen back there. NXA has all of the professional development, so we are buzzing people in there. Parents trying to call on the phone, answering both phones, all of that happening at one time. That's where we need some help. I mean, the SRO steps in, the 3 of us step in whenever we can. We just don't want to miss anything. You know,
Right.
Today we checked an ID, the kid couldn't go with that person. And, that was not missed. Kendra and Nancy are amazing. And if it just gets too chaotic, that could get missed. And I just don't want that to get missed.
Sure, no, I get it. I guess I'm just curious, do you think we're on track? And Mike, please chime in.
I won't say it's the most complicated campus that we have in the district. We look at the high school, we really only have 1 checkpoint to get into the building as far as students go, but they have 3 to 4 checkpoints to get into a building. That's a lot. It can be overwhelming. I think Diana and her staff have done well to try to encourage the students to utilize the access appropriately and not just hitting the button. Because before when they started was, I'm just gonna hit the button, just be hitting the button. That threw the office staff to the room a little bit. But it can be overwhelming to handle that many buildings because in order for them to get in the building, they have to hit the button. Unless they have a badge that's checked out by either a teacher or by the office. But it can be that way. But they've done a good job at we haven't increased the time as far as getting into the buildings, which is good. So meaning that once the bell rings, we haven't said, okay, it's right when the bell rings, another minute. So we haven't increased that time, so they're encouraging them to get into the buildings at the appropriate time. But that gate area that she's talking about when it comes to them pulling in there, that's an unsecure area that we've talked about. But it's a lot at the middle school versus the high school.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
This is one more question.
Yeah.
So you casually said that system caught somebody that couldn't pick up a student.
Mhm.
In the old system, how would have we caught that? Or would have we caught that, I guess would be
The same way the same way, because we check, we open up Skyward and we look to see who is supposed to pick up the student, and it would have been the same way. They just would have been standing face to face to our secretary, and that makes it kind of uncomfortable and difficult, so. Thank you.
Cheryl,
Yeah, I just wanted to give a brief update on Assembly conversion. Assembly being the tool we'll use for the board meeting packets, and it'll be available on the website, make it much more easier for the public to see our agendas and the packets and all of our policies. Gina's been working really close with them. Basically, this board meeting kind of has both building the agenda in that as well as doing the manual. We're hoping to set some sessions with each of you this month before the March meeting to transition over. We're discussing whether to upgrade the technology, whether to look at that as part of the conversation too. But simply, I believe we'll be done with the policy conversions, meaning that they'll be available online in a searchable format and things like that. So we're really shooting for the March meeting. So I just wanted to kind of give a heads up that we'd like to do some training, either individually rolling it out or, do a session. I hate having a meeting specifically to do it, so, and it's very intuitive. I think you'll find it very easy. I know Alicia, you and Kirk saw it at the ISBA. So it really will take a few minutes for you to be able to get in and see that, but we're really hoping to have that ready and rolled out in March, so.
So did they transfer all of our policies, or Gina's having to transfer everything?
No, they did.
They did.
Actually, the tech department, Michael's team was able to convert them into Word documents back from PDFs.
Okay,
And then Sibley did the conversion as part of our.
so I'm gonna ask another question. There might not be a straight answer to this.
Yeah.
What version of the policies got switched over?
Well, I think we made the decision to use what was posted on the website, because that is what we represented as our current policies.
And we know for sure that all that stuff has gone through all the proper channels. Okay,
And what we'll be doing as part of the review is to verifying that and looking at them in sections.
okay. And then start over and then go with recommendations from the ISBA.
Right,
Yes.
we subscribe to their, subscription services, and so between them and the attorney can review. Then obviously also it's nice to go out and compare to other districts, and having it on the website makes it really easy to do that, so.
Okay, thank you.
That's really the only thing I have on there, unless you had something to add.
Nope, that's what I was gonna say if you want that.
so when the patrons go on the website, is it just gonna be fairly logical to run through, it's searchable? Are we gonna have any, will there be questions or most commonly asked questions, or have they talked about how that works in a rollout?
Yeah, and looking at other districts that use it, and I know Melba just finished converting, Boise is using it, there's Emmett. You can go to their websites, and it's actually easy, right under the board page, to have a connection there, and you can do it by month. You can look at all the different meetings that are in the past. You don't have to know the specific date in order to find it. You can search on a topic even. You could say, did the board ever discuss, this supplemental level? And you could search and see every meeting that topic was discussed. And so from a public's perspective, it's the same way. It'll be very easy to look at and say, here's the board agenda, all the attachments, and then minutes associated with that. So it actually, has a relational database connection where you don't have to scan through big, large PDFs, which is the system.
What we do now.
Every attachment will be a separate, item.
So I guess to clarify, just so the public knows, so it's really cool. When you click on, if you search for a topic and you click on it, the attachments, so if there's any policy or law or code, any state code, anything that's associated with that discussion, any documentation that would support that, it's already hyperlinked to that topic for you. So you don't have to go through and say, well, where does that say that in policy, or where are they pulling this information from? So the idea is that it's very transparent and all of that information flows together so that no one has to try and dig and see if something, I'm not saying it's perfect and things can't get missed, but the idea is that hopefully we can provide evidence or support, I guess, for discussion and decision so that the public knows and everyone has easy access to the same things that we're looking at and using to base decisions on. So I felt like it was when we looked at, do you remember looking at it
Yeah,
earlier?
no, it's-
I felt like it was very, very transparent and very easy for the public to use. And also I just loved, even on our end as a board member, it takes a 300 and some odd page board packet down to manageable chunks where you can say, okay, this is a section that talks all about this. This is all the finance related to it. This is all everything. Then I can go to the next section. So it breaks it down for us too, which I feel like is going to make it a lot easier instead of just trying to read through our packets how they are now. Yeah.
Page 1 to page
Yeah.
300.
You can add your notes and different things to it that I think will just make it much more, intuitive and logical for you and the public.
I also think it makes it a living, breathing document that can be updated as opposed to the one that says, I don't want to dig through all of that.
Yeah,
So if we see things that need to be updated and changed, we can address that
correct.
as opposed to having them, well, I want to go to that little room right now. It's so big and this
Yeah.
gives us bite-sized pieces to look at and easier to follow. Well, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
I know it's been a road trip.
To catch up. We'll get out of the car.
So I know we won't have executive session tonight. I'd be remiss in saying Briggs and Mary Ann lost a family member, and so they're out of town for the week. So that's why they can't make it. So please pass on your condolences to them when you see them. So we have no executive session. Do we have anybody signed in that would want to speak?
What? Didn't you see, sorry, I had a question.
Oh, sorry,
Oh.
are you signed in? I just saw no.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
signed in.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I just went with it. I just was curious when you were talking about the new system, the board management, will it address the consent agenda? Because I came in late. Did you guys talk about these items that are underneath there?
So when we have a consent agenda, we ask if we just accept it as is. We reviewed it beforehand. And so when we accept the consent agenda. So we make that motion and then we accept it all as one. If we want to see an item particularly you want to pull out and discuss, then we will do that. Otherwise, the consent agenda, we just approve
And it
in one vote.
Approved.
But each item related to it is included in.
isn't included.
Oh, it's in our packet,
And it's
yes.
in the public packet as well.
Is a public packet that'll be on this new system?
It's there
I'm sorry, can I address?
Yeah.
It's there now,
Okay.
just in kind of page order. You'll have a copy of each one, each item that's being addressed. In the new one, it'll be more specific where you'll see it and then you'll have that attachment. It'll be easier for you to go directly to a particular line
Okay.
rather than have to scroll through all the pages.
So why is it not discussed in the school board meeting?
Do you want that?
Because it's.
Consent agenda is a packet of things that just come together that they look at ahead of time that don't necessarily have to be discussed item by item. And there are certain things that you can put into a consent agenda. And so those are the items that are under there now. Sometimes if they want to discuss, they can pull out item A or item F if they wanted to do that. And they will say that before they approve the consent agenda. If any of the 5 board members want to discuss that particular item.
So as a public community person, I would have to go to the website, look at what all the details are
Mhm.
concerning each
Mhm.
A through F. And then I would be able, that's why we do questions at the end of the meeting, so.
If you had a question about a certain item, yeah.
One of those, okay. I'm just curious why that's not discussed in the public meeting.
So we're a meeting in public, not a public meeting.
Right, you're
So
meeting in public.
We're a meeting in public. So it's our meeting. So we're looking at this beforehand and we can talk one-on-one, not in a group. So we see this. And so then we have our meeting in the public. So it's not a public meeting to where every line item is open to the public.
So if I had a question about one of these items, would I just come to one of you?
Or you
Go to the
could,
superintendent.
or you could call me, or if it was financial, we could get you with Cheryl, depending on what it was. We would get you in touch with the right person here at the district. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And your gavel.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta keep it. 4 minutes.